All right. So in earlier class, when we discussed about XPath, we talked about what is XPath and how to create your basic XPath using you know tag name and then attribute equal to value, right?
Yes.
Create basic XPath. So and we discussed about using and or also. Okay, and then we discussed about what is the difference between absolute and relative XPath, right? So just to recap on this, so absolute XPath is nothing but which starts from the head node of the HTML document, HTML DOM structure, right? So let's say you are having a HTML document, and then usually at the head node you see the HTML tag, right? And then you have the HTML body. So if you are looking to locate any element within the within that DOM, so your absolute XPath will start from the head node, right? And it starts from the single slash HTML, then body likewise. So you will traverse up to that element. However, the relative XPath starts from the double slash and it can start from anywhere in the middle of the DOM, right? So you can start with body directly and then you can go to div and then likewise. And then wherever you see that element, you will have to just put some predicates or indexes and then you will be good to locate that element, right? This absolute XPath is kind of a very long XPath, right? Wherein it might fail because uh, if there is any changes in the DOM structure, right, and there are changes in the you know hierarchy of the tree, right? So it might fail at any point in time, right? Because we are starting from the head node. However, the relative XPath is something which might not fail because we are creating XPath which is very near to the web element, right? So the chances of uh, you know uh, being it fail is very less. Okay, and XPath, be it absolute XPath or relative XPath, it can traverse in both direction, reverse or forward. Okay, however, CSS does not cannot traverse in the backward direction. Okay, so that's the difference between XPath and CSS. We will discuss about that later. Now, whatever the whatever the methods we have seen to create the XPath, that was mostly used for handling static elements, right? What if there are any dynamic elements in your DOM structure, right? So a dynamic element, as in, let's say I am having some attribute which is kind of having ID there, right? So let's say I am having one text box, and for that text box, the tag is input, and the we have ID there, right? And let's say ID equal to uh, you know email field, or right now when I say email field, so that's the attribute value, right? So there might be some cases you would see some cases in a web page wherein the static some part of this value is static and remaining part of this is dynamic, as in, let's say I am having some values here, okay, and which keeps on changing with every refresh, right? So this time I'm having email 121212, and whenever there is a next refresh or after some time, these values are changed to this, right? So these are not static elements. So uh, the value of this is not fixed or not static, right? So they are called dynamic elements. So how to handle them using the whatever the XPath we have seen? It's not, as in, like, feasible to handle dynamic elements using those earlier discussed methods. So we have something called starts with, right? So start with is a method in XPath, right, which can help you to locate the dynamic element. And the second one is your contains, okay, which also, like, pick some of the text within the within your attribute value and using that text, it can locate the element, right? So these we will discuss them in detail, and I'm just summarizing you what we will be discussing in today's class. And next method is called text method, which actually directly look for the text for the web element, and using that text, it can locate the element. So there are three functions which we use quite frequently for handling the dynamic web elements. Right now, moving on, we have some XPath access methods. XPath access methods, wherein we use parent and child, self parent and child kind of, there are a relationship between when you talk about a current node or uh, current web element, it has a relationship between parent or child. So with the help of that relationship, we identify that node, and for that we have multiple access methods in XPath. So first of that method is when we use only parent or child or self, right? So one of that method is parent, child, or self. The second one is using uh, grandchildren or children. So that is called descendant or descendant self. Descendant or self. On the similar note, we have ancestor and ancestor or self. Ancestor or self. Next is your following, wherein we also look for all the nodes which are coming after my current node, right? And then following sibling, wherein we look for the nodes which are having a same parent, right? So it will actually look for the sibling. Then we have your preceding and preceding sibling, right? So in XPath access methods, we have these 5 categories which can help you to locate the element, wherein the element is quite dynamic, or the element is not having any appropriate XPath, and you are taking the help of parent or child to locate that specific element. Okay, so before I proceed further, guys, you have good understanding of HTML document, how it is actually structured. I think Disha knows. What about you, Sitara?
Yes, Nitin, I know the basic of it.
Basic of it, you know, right? So this is a head node, and below the head node, you have these all child nodes, meta, and then link, etc. Right? And if you talk about this, so this head is your, it's like a folder structure. If you talk about folder structure in your computer, right? So head, let's say, is your parent folder, and in that parent folder, I am having these all child folders or subfolders, right? And uh, similar to that, I am having another parent folder that is called body, and under body also I am having these all child folders. So under body I am having non-script div, and under div I am having div this, and under div I am having div this, and under this I am having div this. So if I need to go to this main, right, I will have to start, let's say I'm starting from here. So first I will go to body, and then I will go to, I will have to choose this div among these two, right, between these two. So I'll go to first into this div, and then I'll go to this div under that, right, and then this div, and then finally main, and then in main I will be able to find that content, right? So likewise,
Yes.
I will be traversing from my main folder up to the innermost folder which I want to locate. So same concept applies here, and that's what we do in our absolute XPath. We start from the head node, and then we go inside each folder one by one, right? Okay, now talking about the start with method, right? So as I said, start with is actually useful when you have a dynamic web element. Okay, and some portion of the web element is fixed, but the remaining portion of the element is dynamic and keeps on changing, right? So for an example, let me go back to this web page, and let's say I'm trying to locate this first name. Okay, let's say instead of ID here, I'm having something called like this. I'm having this is the uh, uh, attribute value I'm getting for this ID attribute, right? So and with every refresh, this keeps on changing. So instead of this, next time it is showing like this, right? So you won't be able to handle this using just using this attribute value, because it will fail whenever there is a refresh in a web page. So to handle this, we will have to use start with method. So it start with actually capture the initial some character of that attribute value, and you would be able to locate that element even though there is a change in the attribute value going forward, right? So the syntax for this is quite simple. So you start with like tag name, and then your uh, starts with, and then within single braces you will use the attribute which you want to use. So attribute name, or just attribute, and then comma, and then in single quotes you will use attribute value. Okay, so this is pretty simple, and with the help of this you would be able to handle that. Okay, so let me just try handling this. It starts with @name email. So @name equal to email, and id equal to also email. Okay, so starts with basically is helpful when you are having a dynamic element and some portion of that is fixed or static. And starts with actually look for the text which is which is actually located at the beginning of the attribute value, right? So starts with, then @attribute, and then value. So example of this is like this. If I want to locate this, I can wait. Got it right? Any confusion here, guys?
No, Nitin, understood.
Understood.
Okay, next is your contains method. So once I complete these three, then I will show you uh, in Eclipse. Okay, so contains is nothing but you can provide you can use the contains method for finding any partial uh, attribute value, right, within that web element. So let's say you are having some uh, element for that, starting of that element is dynamic, and in the middle of that element attribute value you are having some static value, and then um, at the last also you are having some dynamic value. So the beginning value of that attribute or the last value of that attribute keeps on changing with every refresh, but in the middle of that element you are having something which is static, right? So with the help of contains, you can just check, you can just put this text along with your xpath, and then it will be like able to identify that. So the syntax is quite similar to this. So it will start from 2 / and then tag name, then instead of starts with you have contains, and then you have attribute value attribute, then value. So contains, to take the example of contains, let me go back to this contains, and let's say I am using the class this time. Okay, class is having a somewhat a long name, and I am just picking the account. I am just picking the account input, account underscore input likewise. So I am just picking the middle of this text. Okay, so with this also I can locate the elements. However, this is not unique because we are having the other elements also which is having this class name. But for understanding purpose, you can use the contains wherein any the partial match of this text of with this value should be fine. Understood?
Yeah.
Okay. Next is your text method. Okay. So text method is used to find the element with the exact text match. Right. So you would have seen for some of the elements there is a text, right? So this is the text password, right, for this password field or password level, right? So this is a text I am having, and likewise we will find some text in the web page. So like this is create an account. This is also text, right? So to uh, to locate such elements using given text, you can use the text method of the XPath. So again, this is a method, right? So the syntax is bit different than starts with and contains, but I would say it's simple only. So XPath for this would be like tag name. First would be your tag name. Then within your square brackets, you will use text method equal to and then actual text within single quotes, which appears along with your web element. Okay. So this is a method, so that's why we are using parentheses here. This is also a method, that's why we are using parentheses here. And within that parentheses, I am putting the attribute name and attribute value. And this is also a method. It starts with, so that is the reason I am putting attribute name and attribute value. And usually this is a method, so that's why it starts from the small case only, Disha. Yeah.
Yeah, understood.
So let's say for create an account, if I am looking to locate this element using this text method, how can I do that, guys? Can you help me? So I'm having h3 as a tag name, adding 3, and then I'm having this text, create an account. So h3,
H3,
yeah,
square brackets, text,
text equal to the text, actual text which appears, right?
yeah, so just create an account.
Yeah. So it's quite simple, right? So text equal to create an account. Okay. So with the help of these methods, you would be able to identify some elements which you cannot identify using the basic XPath, or you can create a robust XPath with that. Robust XPath as in that XPath will not fail. Okay. Understood until here? Starts with contains and text. So I'll take the example of each of them one by one, and then we will proceed with the XPath access methods. So let's say I'm driver dot trying to find first, let's say I'm trying to find this email address, and for that I am using 1 second, let me first locate this create an account. Driver dot find element by dot xpath text, and then let me see if I can get the text of this. So string text. So text. Okay, so I have used text method here. Next is I want to use starts with. So start with, let's say I am using this. Can you help me creating the start with, guys? For this email field.
Yes. Okay, so input starts with in bracket @
ID,
ID, comma, email. Brackets close.
okay, though there are two matching nodes, but the first node which matches to this locator is your email address only, right? So since it is having email as ID at the beginning of the text, okay.
And if I want to access the second one, then I just need to put 2 there, right? In
So if you
the
want to
square
access
brackets.
that, no, it won't work, I guess. So 2 you want to put here, is it? No.
Not like this, in square bracket 2. After email, after that square bracket end, where
Yeah.
the square bracket ends right here.
Here too, no, it won't work, Disha.
No. The square. Okay, come out of that square bracket, right side, then 2.
No, it will not work. It will
In
not work.
square bracket, okay.
After
square
slash,
bracket again.
likewise, yeah.
And
Without
remove
slash.
that slash without slash. Yeah.
No, it won't work.
No, it is not work.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because that's a separate node, right? So you cannot traverse from here to here. Okay, so for that you will have to create. You will have to choose the other methods. Okay. 1 second. What I have done. So Control C, and then driver dot find element by dot xpath, and then starts with dot send keys, and let's say here I am giving abc @123.com. Okay, so that is the use of start with. Now I want to use contains. So let's say for contains I am using this email address. I want to input some text in this email address field. So can you help me writing the robust xpath using contains method?
Yeah, input, and in brackets it will instead of starts with, it will be contains.
Okay. And then what field I am having here? What attributes I am having here? Data validate, type, ID, name, all of them are there. Yeah. So can I use some of them?
The ID, you can use ID or class. So ID and then email, I think.
So @ID equal to email. So I'm getting two matching nodes with this Satara. So first is your this email address, right? And second is your this email address. So I want to locate the unique element here.
So class.
So both of them are having same here. So all same email create is email type equal to text. is required validate account input form field. Yeah, so all fields seem same here. Okay. Let me do one thing. Let's identify this because I am having some different ID here. So I'm having underscore create, right? Instead of this uh, email text only, I'm having underscore create also. So let's use that. Yeah. So it's just I'm using the partial text of this ID underscore create. Got it?
What was the ID of the other one?
So ID of the other one is just email.
Okay, okay.
Okay, and this is additional. I am having underscore create. Okay, so let's use this here instead of this. Okay, and let's identify something else for starts with. So driver dot find element by dot xpath and starts with let me see if I am having any link here. Can I use this title here to start with? Can you create some xpath for this new products link which uses starts with method? So double slash
A,
then
double slash A
A.
starts with
then at the rate
then bracket open at the rate. What was the attribute?
I think
title.
title.
Title was the attribute.
Title, comma,
New.
Comma new, right? Yeah. So we are getting only one node, one matching node with this y dot xpath and then dot click. My Eclipse. I think this time it worked. abc at the rate 123.com and then it will click on this new product link. Click on new product. Yeah.
do I need to run?
If it is okay for both of you, like you understood how it worked, then I don't think it is required.
Yeah, for me, I understood.
Even I understood, Nitin.
Yeah. So we used text method, we used contents method, and we used this starts. It's so simple, right? I mean, by the name also you can understand. The problem is, yeah. Okay, so 1 second. So I told you in the last class that the structure of the HTML is like a parent-child relationship, right? So at the top we are having a parent, right? And all below nodes are child of this parent, like meta, title, meta, and I can have a child for this also. So a script is a child of head, and then these all not values. So script Yeah, so a script is a, so let's talk about this. So body is a parent, div is a child, and these divs are child of this child. So these divs are grandchildren of this body. Okay, so likewise we have the structure of the DOM. Okay, and if I need to move from here to here, I will have to start from body and then div and then these divs. So likewise I will have to move from here to here. Okay, what this parent is says is it represents the relationship to the context node. Context node as in, let's say this is my context node, and as in like I am trying to locate other elements using this node, right? So this is the context node, and it represents the relationship with the context node as in the parent or child or self. Okay, so the syntax for this is pretty simple, as in like it will start from tag name to forward slashes tag name, then in your square brackets attribute name equal to value, then we have again two forward slashes parent to double colon and then tag name. So this will give me the parent of the context node. Okay, if I am looking for the child of the context node, then the syntax is almost same, just I will have to switch to the child instead of parent. Okay, or if I am looking for the self node, then syntax is again simple. It just instead of parent or child, I will have to use self tag name. Okay. So double forward slash here. Okay, let's go back to the application and then let's see if I can locate this. So let's say I am here on this tag, the column div class column containers, and this is my context node, and I am looking for the parent node on with the help of this this node. How can I use this parent method, guys?
Nitin, context node is that means the child, right?
Anything, it can, it should not
Anything.
be child, anything like let's say I'm not able to find the locator of this parent or this one. So with the help of this, I am moving back to this parent.
Okay.
Okay, so as of now I am having a good locator here. Let's say class is there and I can locate that, but in real scenarios we may not see any good locator available here, which
Correct.
is no, this is not parent, this is sibling actually for this. Let's say, right, say for
Yeah, div
this
is the parent.
div is a
Divided.
div is a parent, this is child of div, but these two are sibling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's say I am not able to locate this in real scenario, so I am using this this element to
As a
locate my
context
parent.
node.
Yeah, so this would be my context node.
Understood.
Okay, and with the help of this context node, I will either check for the parent, or I will either check for the child, or I will either check for the self. So that is also there. Okay, so can you tell me, uh, checking the formula we have, how can I
Yeah,
access the
sure.
parent?
So div at the rate.
So let's say I'm looking for this one, wherein the ID is equal to page, and I can use any of the sibling here. So let's say I am using this class container, column container sibling. So div
Yes. So div
@
at the rate class equal to columns container.
okay, then so I can get
There
this,
is
I
some
can,
parent.
yeah, so / parent and then tag name. So tag name is div, right?
Okay.
So I am getting how many elements I am getting with the help of this? I am getting
16.
16. 1 second. So div @class equal to /parent and then div. Okay, so the my first I'm getting the parent of this, right? And let's say I am getting 16. So if I am looking for a unique element, I can use attribute @id equal to ph. Okay, so with the help of this, I could move to the parent of this node, right?
Okay, but Nitin, here also we have mentioned the path, sorry, not path, XPath, to full XPath of a parent, right? So what is the use then? Like div @id equals to page we have written, but in real scenario, if there are no, as you said, if there are no
No,
locators,
yeah, there are no
then,
locators.
then
Uh, so why it is giving the self or child also? That, let me check self. For self also it is giving 17. And for self, child. Yeah, so child is fine, that it is giving only child. Okay, I am getting all the child of this,
yeah,
child of this class column container parent, right? Self is also giving me self plus child, right? So earlier it was 16, now it is 17.
yeah, because it is taking itself.
Yeah,
Self,
itself
right?
also. And now if I take parent, then starting from parent, okay, and then self and then all child. Okay, so let me go to this website and let me check how it works. Hmm, okay, so let me check it here. So let's say I am using option and then @value equal to we cannot use option, we will have to use select @ let's say taking name equal to job role, then parent colon div. Select name equal to job underscore role. I think there's some issue. It is not locating the elements. Okay, leave it. Yeah, so basically what happens, Disha, usually with the help of this parent, only the, I mean, the first node would be selected as parent of this this node. Okay, so I will have to check why it is showing the other nodes also. Usually the it should show the parent node of this node. And
Yeah.
if I use child, then all the child node of this node should be visible. Okay, and if I use self here, then the first node will be self also. Okay, so that is how it should work in real scenario. It's just that we can append that attribute also along with let's say for the parent, I can append the attribute. If there are any attributes, I can use those attributes also. Is it making sense, guys?
Yeah.
Tara, Naresh, are you getting it? What is the use of this parent and then child and self?
Nitin, can you go to that example and tell what is parent and child? Like,
Yeah, 1 second. So let me just mention the definition here, so it will be like more clear to you. So it represents a relationship between to the context node, right? And it is used in locating elements, nodes or elements relative to that node in the tree, right? So here, if I go back to this, here let's say I am this is my let's say web element, and I do not have any particular locator for this, and I want to locate this element, but there is no particular locator, so I will take the help from the child, right? So in real time scenario, if you talk about, let's say uh, no one knows Ramesh Tendulkar, right? Everyone will know, like he is a father of Sachin Tendulkar. Likewise, I am trying to locate this node, right? So I am taking the help of the child to locate myself, or I can say that let's say I'm taking the help of this parent to locate my children. So let's say Aryan is a son of Shahrukh Khan. So likewise, I will take the help of this parent node to locate my child node.
okay.
Got it? So it's pretty simple. Like I will take the help of the context node to locate my relatives, be it a parent or be it a child. Okay.
So your ID equal to page is parent, right? No,
Yeah, so this is parent. Yeah, so you can see this hierarchy. See, this body is a super grandparent, and this is a next hierarchy, right? Which is a parent of, sorry, which is a children of body.
Correct.
And this is div. Div is again a children of div. This one, and this div is a, you know, sibling, right? They are sibling.
Okay.
Okay, so these three divs are sibling of each other.
So in the second class equal to columns, if you expand that,
Yeah.
we have another.
Yeah. So
another div.
these are the children of this div.
Okay.
So this is a children of this div, and this again is a children of this div, and again we have some sibling here. This is
Okay.
also sibling. So like it is like a hierarchical tree structure. And this also is having another div. So this is a children of this div. This div is a children of this div. This div is a children of this div. This form is a children of this form. Then this div is a children of this form, child of this form. So likewise the hierarchy goes. It is like a parent-child relationship we have here. Yeah, Naresh?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is how we can use this parent-child self, access methods. So parent, nothing but select the parent of the context node. Child selects all children of the context node. So child basically select all children of the context node, and self selects a current node.
Context node is the one that we are
Using that
using,
we are
right?
using Sachin Tendulkar to know Ramesh Tendulkar, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and context node is nothing but the Shah Rukh Khan here, and we are using him to locate Aryan.
Okay.
Okay, so context node is the current node. All right. So next is your next one is your descendant or descendant self. What is that? Disha, do you know what is descendant or descendant self?
No, Nitin.
So descendant is nothing but it selects all of the descendant as in your children, grandchildren, etc. Just children, grandchildren, etc. It will select all of the children, grandchildren, etc. of the context node. Okay, so it's again the formula is again very simple. It's just tag name, then tag name of the context node, tag name, then attribute name, attribute value, and here instead of parent I will select descendant, DSCENDANT, and followed by tag name. Descendant of self is like it will select descend all the children along with self itself, self also. So instead of this descendant I will write here descendant or self, and then tag name. Okay, and the condition here is the tag name should be same for all descendant, because we are mentioning the tag name here, right? So wherever there is a match of the tag name, then only it will select this dissolve descendant and descendant or self. Okay, so in the context of that example, let's say I am having let me take this time, let me take this element this time. So div id equals to column, id equals to column, and then double. So I was referring to this node wherein the id was column, and I am using the descendant axis method, and descen descendant and then div. So it is locating just all the children and grandchildren of this node, right? So the first node I got is like the very first children, right? Next one is slider row, then I am having one more grandchildren inside this. So likewise, I can locate all the children and grandchildren using descendant, which is having the same tag name div. Guys, is it making sense?
Yes, yes, Nitin.
Yes, Nitin.
Descendant or self. So this time it started from self also. Yeah, so earlier it was like locating the 15 elements, now it is locating 16 elements including self also, because self is also having the same tag name div. Naresh?
Yeah, Nitin.
Okay, so simple, right? It selects all the descendant of the context node and descendant and self. Okay, on the same note, ancestor or ancestor self, it selects all the parent or grandparent of the current node. Okay, so formula again is pretty simple here. So it selects all the ancestors, all of the ancestors, parent, grandparent of the context node. Okay, and here instead of descendant, it would be ancestor. Ancestor or self. Okay, so if I go back to that example and instead of descendant, if I use self here, ancestor here, so again it is giving, why it is not giving ancestor here? Okay, so I am writing descendant, 1 second. Ancestor div. Hmm. Input.
At the rate ID, I guess.
Yeah, sorry. Then yeah, see, this is fine. Not sure why there is an issue, right? So ancestor will give you all the ancestors. Yeah, only the ancestors having the same tag div. we were having confusion in this also, right? Wherein this tag was giving parent along with child, right, guys?
Yeah.
So parent div. See, this is giving only one tag of this is the parent of this input tag. If I use self here, not self, what is that? Self tag name, because tag name is different, right? So tag name has to be input. And if I use child here, there is no element having the tag name as child, and there is no element having the tag name as div also, which are the child of this input.
Yeah, correct.
Got it? And this descendant we have seen, ancestor also we have seen. So instead of this, let me use this tag name attribute equal to value ancestor or self. Ancestor or self. Here is tag name is div, because it won't give you this self, because tag name is different here, right? Tag name is input. Is it making sense why we are not getting this self and self tag? If I change the to input here, it will give only this tag.
Yes, Nitin.
Yeah.
Understood. Yep.
So this gives me the list of all descendant having the same tag name, and this gives me the list of all descendant or self having the same tag name. Similarly, this gives me the list of all ancestors having the same tag name, and this gives me the list of all ancestors or self having the same tag name. Okay, now next one is your following sibling, following or following sibling. So what it does, Disha? What following does and what following sibling stuff does? Following is nothing but it selects all the nodes that appear after the context node. And following sibling it selects all the node that have same parent as context node. And appear after the context node. Okay, so formula again is quite simple only, just we have to replace this with following or following sibling. So if I'm looking for all nodes after the current node, then my following will work. And if I'm looking for all siblings having the same parent, following sibling will work. Following hyphen sibling. If I go back to that example, and this time let me take this div, or let me take this div. Div, then @class equal to private form input wallpaper. So this I am taking as current node or context node, and I am looking for all the following nodes having the same tag name, let's say div. So it is giving you 14 elements after this element context, after this context node. Okay, and following sibling will give me only the sibling of that same parent. So there are only two sibling I am having for the same parent. So this is one. Yeah. Is it making sense?
Can you close this one? I mean, password input. Just
Where it is?
uh, second sibling is there, right? It is the parent of that.
This one.
This
Kya?
password input. Yeah, yeah. Can you close that one?
Okay.
Okay, now it is from form input wrapper and then form meta, and the other one is no. I just want to understand the sibling, this following sibling part. So
Yeah,
this
even
is
I
the
didn't get this actually.
Okay, so we are using this as context node, right? And this is parent, and we have child. Then we have one more child. Then we have these many. Having the same parent. So why it is selecting the next one? Private form meta, private form meta.
yeah. That's what I also got confused because the password input class, that is the other one, right? It is not a sibling.
Private form input wrapper. Okay. Let me take this one. So for this, okay, actually they are the siblings, Disha. Here we cannot see, but actually they are the sibling. That is the reason it is selecting all the following nodes having the same parent. So parent of these all must be same.
But Nitin, so if you see, if we have selected control wrapper, it also has UI form control also as sibling, right? The next
Only
one,
all the following siblings.
but it didn't take up UI form control, I believe. Control wrapper,
Yeah, got your point. Yeah, so you are saying about this, right?
yes.
Okay. What is the preceding sibling then? Preceding. Yeah, so UI form control, it took this time for the preceding sibling. It took form input wrapper also and form meta. Following let me go back to this. So let me just fail. One second. So this is done, descendant is done, ancestor is done. Then we were on following sibling, right? So following sibling will give you all the following tags having all the following nodes having the same tag name from the current node, right? So if I use here following, so see, this is I am at the this is my current node wherein the class is equal to sign up link, right? And I am now looking for all the following nodes having the same tag name, that is div, right? So it is giving me around 20 tags which are having the same tag name as this given here, right? And it is giving me all the tags, all the nodes after this node. Okay, so be it children, grandchildren, everything it is giving, but it is having the same tag name. Okay, so this is following, and following sibling will give me only the sibling which are having the same parent. So this is giving me seven siblings, as in having the same parent arranged. This is my parent, right? And this parent is having 7 siblings starting from here. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7. Okay, so if I traverse them one by one, I will get all the 7 siblings. 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. Okay, and these are also siblings, as in like it's just not defined, this div is not defined, but the parent of this is same, form ID. Okay, so the concept is the same only, not sure why it was failing there. Either there are some hidden elements or something, but the concept is like following sibling will give you all the following nodes having the same parent. Okay, and the tag name should be same for all those siblings. Disha, Sitara, Naresh, are you getting it?
Yeah, Nitin, but we need,
Yes,
I mean,
Nitin.
I need practice for this.
Yeah, practice that. So usually we do use this. I mean, in real scenarios, following and preceding siblings, we do use this. Descendant or ancestor, we are not using much, but following or preceding siblings we are using. Okay, and preceding sibling is again same. It will give you all the nodes that appear before the context node. So preceding will give you, it selects all the nodes that appear before the context node. So that is preceding, and preceding sibling sibling will, it selects all the nodes that have same parent as the context node and appear before the context node. Okay, formula is same. Instead of following and following sibling, we will use preceding or preceding sibling. So guys, what I will do, I'll share this notepad also with you because we are writing so many things here, right? So I'll share the notepad of Java and this Selenium also, so you can refer that once we are finishing the course. Preceding tag name and then preceding sibling. Okay, so let me go back to that example. So here is the sign up link. Yeah, this is a sign up link, and let me use preceding here. Let's see what it is giving. Let's see. So I'm getting just one. So I am only having one node which is having the same tag name. And what preceding sibling is giving, preceding sibling is not giving anything here. Class equal to this, and yeah, so this time I'm getting not sure what is the issue with this password input field because it is selecting all this also. Ideally it should not select. All the preceding nodes having the same tag name should be selected with this, or preceding sibling will give you the siblings only. Okay, so concept wise that is the